And Rockheads, I know this is not the beach, but the beach is a little scary right now. So this is actually Tales from my yard. I was driving back from the chiropractor and I realized that where I dumped out a big bucket of beach material that was left to me in my yard, it was nice and clear what everything is today in the rain. So I thought I'd give you a little tour and maybe help you identify some of the things you might have. So let's take a look here. So right off you can see that we have a blue-black agate here. And so how do we know it's an agate? It's translucent. Why do we call it a blue-black agate? Because it's got that black center to it, and you would also call that a cloud in the center of that. How that happens is manganese oxides. Here's another one that has some black that has actually penetrated just slightly into the agate. It's a secondary thing. It's not usually a primary thing. In that cloud agate, somehow manganese got in here when it formed. Does that make sense? So, what is agate? Silicon dioxide. What is silicon dioxide? Most of the time, quartz. How is this a quartz crystal? Well, it's not. It's a form of quartz called chalcedony. And it can also be chert, and that's a little deeper of a subject than I want to get into, but essentially it's just teeny tiny little quartz crystals, so small and so interlocked that you can't see them, and they don't block light. This has some manganese inclusions, and there is the construction guy with his giant diesel truck. Rah! All right, so here is some petrified wood. How can I tell? From the stripes. Rah! You like that? Anyways, so stripes. It also kind of looks like wood. You will get some that fakes you out. But most of the time, if it looks like wood, it probably is. All right, what else we got here? Red Jasper galore. So what's the difference between like this red rock that is, notice it's solid and it doesn't have a lot of pattern to it? That's a red jasper. You can see that it has a conchoidal fracture where it looks like I smashed my fingernail into it. The root word for conchoidal is conch, or shell, so you can remember that, a shell-like fracture. Now, what's the difference between that red rock and like this red rock? Well, see, this has some little agate veins in it, and you're like, what? So what that is that means that the red isn't solid. It means that that could be what are called biological textures, or like a moss or a plume or some other flame textures that we see, but you wouldn't be able to tell unless you got out your microscope, because a lot of these textures are really, really small. All right, I can't keep squatting. I am not in shape for that. All right, what else do we have here? We have some zeolite crystals. What are those? Zeolite crystals are sprays of an alumina silicate crystal that forms as basalt unbasalts. The aluminum and the silica free. That sounded like a gunshot. What a weird video you guys get today. Anyways, so when the aluminum and the silica are freed and salt is present, it creates these really cool pectolite or zeolite crystals. All right, let's see here. What else we have? Another again. I'm hoping that's a construction noise. All right, here's a petrified wood as an example. See how that really looks like a little root ball or something? Has some wood texture to it. All right. I didn't plan this. I was like inspired. Talking about biological textures, here's one. So we talk about plume textures. You see that? This formed as a seam, and essentially earth snot, which are algae and different thermophiles, create a sticky substance that traps the silica in these seams, creating these textures. All right, well, more on this later. Enjoy this little video. This is mostly stuff off the beach. It was, as I said, dumped on me, so this isn't stuff that I personally harvested, but I did throw it out in my garden. Here's another big agate. You can tell because it's translucent. Here's a carnelian agate. It means that it's been stained by iron oxides, so it can be anywhere from yellow to red. All right, rockhounds and rockheads, I'll do another one of these videos, but I'm going to go in. It's wet and cold. Laura from Rock Your World, over and out.